So, in talking about generosity and gratitude, I think that in order to be a grateful person, we have to recognize that something is meant for our good. That doesn't necessarily mean we like it, right? Something can be meant for our good, and we can be grateful for it, but it doesn't mean that we have to like it. A root canal, right? Now, most of the time we go to the dentist for a root canal because we're in extreme pain, right? And there's nothing worse than jaw pain, right? We don't like a root canal, but once we get through it and we're on the other side, we can be grateful. So gratitude, in a way, is kind of a frame of mind. I did that? I'm sorry. So most of the time, when we're grateful to someone, when they give us something, when we receive something, we are grateful when that giving has no strings attached. There are no hooks, right? There's nothing in there that you just know that somebody's giving you something and it's not clean. Ever been in that situation? So when the giver simply wants to be helpful without you feeling as though a debt needs to be repaid, and you don't feel as though you're being manipulated, or you don't feel that someone is doing that because they're trying to embellish their relation or embellish their image in the community or in the family or wherever. So when no hooks come with someone else's generosity and it's just purity of heart, we feel gratitude. Now, gratitude actually has a physiological effect on our bodies. Our bodies respond to gratitude, clean gratitude. Gratitude releases dopamine and oxytocin in the brain. Now, we've heard a lot about oxytocin over the years, but in part, oxytocin helps us bond with others because it increases our ability to feel trust and empathy. It's been nicknamed, I love this, oxytocin has been nicknamed the cuddle hormone. And it may have, and there are people here who know more about this than I, but it may actually have mental health healing qualities, oxytocin. So in short, gratitude is good for us. It helps us form relationships. It improves our mental and physical well-being, and all of that helps us to live longer and happier lives. So why is it that we have a hard time feeling grateful? Well, I think, as I said a minute ago, part of it is what we focus on. When we only see the negative in our lives, it's hard to be grateful. When we feel like life isn't giving us what we deserve, it's hard to find gratitude. Plus, many of us have a hard time receiving. We have a hard time receiving someone else's generosity. I guess we took to heart the words of Paul in Acts, who was quoting Jesus by saying, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Many of us would much rather give than receive. It feels good to give. And sometimes receiving triggers all kinds of trauma or attitudes about your self-worth. Ironically, and unfortunately, our unwillingness to receive hinders someone else's ability to give. So in a way, receiving is giving. Right? Have you ever tried to give something to someone and they wouldn't take it? How does that make you feel? rejected, like, what you're trying to give isn't worth giving, right? So when we are willing to give or receive what someone else is giving, we are, in essence, giving graciously. Now, Jesus tells us that what we give will be given back to us, and he encourages us to give to everyone who asks. Hebrews 13:16 states, "And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifice God is pleased." We often interpret scriptures that talk about giving and generosity to mean giving material possessions. Like, if a guy asks for your shirt, give him your cloak as well, and that kind of, how's that for paraphrasing? So, the idea is that when we think about giving scripturally, we think about it from a material possession standpoint. Food, money, clothing, medicine, shelter, those kinds of things. But what people really need and what we hunger for the most are the intangibles. Our options for expressing generosity grow exponentially when we include giving things that we can't physically touch. A listening ear, making time for others, showing a genuine interest in someone else's life, or just sitting with someone who is grieving or afraid. Jesus encourages all acts of generosity, intangible and tangible, but he does have one very important caveat. Do it in secret. Give your gifts in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you. If we can achieve a balance between being comfortable with giving and receiving, with sharing our lives as well as our money, and do it in secret with a pure heart, that no one's looking for accolades and praise, we will be one level closer to being fully healed and capable of love. Welcome to worship. We are so glad you're here.